Yo, what's up, Trap House? So I am back after a brief lull, and I want to dig into a particular question I get all the time on Twitter. Looking at what pistol should I buy, Glock or M&P? I've got my opinions, and I've got a considerable amount of experience with both at this point, as far as round count goes. And thought I'd put together a quick comparison between the Glock 17, Glock 19 versus the Smith & Wesson M&P 2 cousins to those models. So gonna poke around, do a little bit of shooting, talk a little bit about the pros and cons of each, what I like, what I dislike about each one, and we'll take it from there. And but yeah, hopefully you guys find this useful, and stop asking me the same fucking question over and over again. All right, guys, let's go shoot some guns. So here's what we have on the menu today as far as what we're shooting. We have 2 Glocks and 2 M&Ps. First up, we have a Glock 17. So this is a 4.5-inch barrel, I believe. It's outfitted with a Hollow Sun pistol red dot, but otherwise it's fairly stock aside from some tritium night sights. I need to upgrade to suppressor height sights so I can co-witness with the pistol dot. The other Glock I have is the Glock 19, which is a 4-inch barrel. It is one of the most popular concealed carry pistols out there. This one I have Ameriglow tritium night sights on it, and yeah, otherwise pretty much stock. Moving to the M&P side, I have an M&P 4.25-inch barrel, which is the direct competitor to the Glock 19, and this came stock from the factory with tritium night sights. And then I also have a 5-inch full-size M&P 2, which is the direct competitor to the Glock 17. All of these, as you can see, are outfitted with Streamlight TLR 1HL weapon lights. These are the weapon lights most of you probably have, because we don't really need a $300 Surefire to defend tendies in our mom's basement. So, Glock or M&P? This video is gonna get me into a lot of trouble. Probably gonna lose half my Twitter followers and YouTube subscribers all at the same time because of this video, but question keeps popping up, so thought I'd answer it. But Glock and M&P, I've got a decent amount of experience with both pistols. They both have storied histories, long histories of reliability and use in real world applications and war, police, and all across the gamut. I think Glocks, their track record dates back about 30 years and 30, 40 years, if I'm doing my math right, which I'm probably not. And then M&P goes back about 20 years. And they're both fantastic guns. I've certainly got more rounds through my M&P, and it's an M&P 2 for those who are gonna point that out. Clocked around 12,000 rounds to my 4.25-inch barrel. And then coming in second place, my Glock 19 has roughly 8,000 rounds through. I've shot other people's Glocks and M&Ps and all that good stuff. But yeah, for the most part, my experience is mostly nestled within the compact intermediate sized versions, and they compete with one another, and the associated cults for each manufacturer are gonna take some pot shots in the comments, and it will be fun. So most gun reviewers look at 4 criteria across a pistol. So the trigger, reliability, ergonomics, and accuracy. Accuracy, I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm not gonna spend too much time on that, largely because accuracy is more question for yourself than it is for the pistol itself. All these guns are more accurate than you or I ever will be. It's kind of a silly question at this point. Is a Glock accurate? Is an M&P accurate? They're fine. They're gonna work fine if you do everything you need to do to get it to work. I think the core areas where they're both going to differentiate is the trigger and ergonomics. So let me talk about the trigger a little bit. So a lot of people shit on the Glock trigger, a lot of people shit on the M&P trigger. They're both fine. I've shot Apex triggers, I've shot agency triggers. I had an agency trigger in one of my old Glock 19s. The Glock trigger gets a lot of flack for being really gritty. M&P trigger gets a lot of flack for having a lot of take-up. And I think there's some merit to both of those, but keep in mind, a lot of these people are comparing a striker fire trigger to a tuned 1911, and that's stupid. They're both striker fired, they're both gonna have serviceable pistols. I usually just try and train around the trigger and get used to it. Personally, I prefer the M&P trigger, but I like the Glock trigger also. There are several third-party upgrades you can get from Agency, Rise, I think CMC also makes some, as well as Apex. They're all great. Do I think that they're worth upgrading, paying for to upgrade? Probably not. I just, like I said, I just work around triggers. Next up, we have reliability. I can only speak to the pistols I own, but I have experienced more failures with Glocks, failures to the feed. Now, through all the footage that you're gonna see here, everything I'm shooting is the same across both pistols. I primarily stockpile Cellar and Bellet 9mm, as well as Fiocchi, and some Herder's ammo lately, because that's mostly what I've been able to get my hands on because of the beer flu ammo run. I've experienced a handful of failures to feed on Glocks. Glocks have a reputation, kind of like the FUD lore AK myth, that AKs are indestructible and will always run. Glocks kind of have that same stature. And let me tell you that it's not true. You're gonna have failures with them. I've experienced failures with AKs and I've experienced failures with Glocks. I will say though, I haven't had a failure with any of my M&Ps. I've got over 12,000 rounds through my M&Ps. They've been great. Next up, let's talk about the ergonomics. So, most people either love or hate the Glock ergos. I hated Glocks for the longest time. For the same reason I hated AKs for the longest time. They just felt clunky to shoot for me. And then I stopped being a pussy and learned how to shoot. Just kidding. Glocks, I feel like, have a bit of a learning curve. If you don't shoot with an aggressive thumb forward grip, they are going to be a little weirder to shoot. M&Ps and CZs actually, I found are a more intuitive grip for me. But as my grip evolved over the years, Glock started feeling more intuitive. So if a Glock, holding a Glock in your hand feels weird, go check out an M&P. It might feel better for you. Otherwise, I would say the M&P has a more natural fit. It's actually comparable to the P80 Glocks that I've seen. I have one over here actually that I'm working on, but the grip is a little bit more natural for me. So I would give M&P the point there if I had to choose, but I mean, my grip has evolved over the years to where Glocks work just fine for me. So at the end of the day, just rent one from your local range or borrow one from a buddy and let them shoot theirs. Whichever one works best for you and feels more intuitive to shoot is what you're probably going to want to shoot and therefore practice more with and get better with. The guns are practically identical to one another as far as performance goes. You're going to be fine with either one. I think people in the gun world tend to divide themselves into camps and then go to war with one another over the internet for their preferred brand, and I think that's stupid. Just spend more time training than arguing on the internet with people. It's a pretty good rule that's worked out pretty well for me. Just see which one works best for you, which you prefer, and shoot it. That's the most important part. All right, hope this was useful. See you guys.